Wilson. I'm a full-time professional graffiti and street artist. On February 22nd, me and my wife Emma we went into town. We were planning on going up to the cathedral spire because we hadn't done that since I was a child. That was part of the plan of the day, but luckily we chose to have lunch first. We'd just been served our meals and the earthquake hit, and my wife was the first one under the tables, and I saw a light fitting from the hallway drop, and so that got me under the table. I was actually still in shock. I sat back down to continue to finish my meal. Walked outside onto the street, onto Gloucester, and there was dust everywhere from the falling buildings. I saw a lady in like a business suit. She was mad, covered in dust, and she was a bit hysterical, saying there's somebody back there. And yeah, it was somebody on the ground who'd passed away. They had a massive corner of a building on top of them, so we knew they were gone. I just happened to have my camera on me that day, so I was stopping and taking heaps of photos. My wife just wanted to get to safety, so she was telling me to hurry up. And then we went to go to our car, but the streets had buildings falling in front of them, so we couldn't get our car out. The car in front of ours had been crushed by the building that had fallen there, so we turned around and saw the cathedral. A good amount of it just collapsed. The whole top spire had fallen and everything like that, so we walked from Gloucester, Colombo to there. And then, on the way there was just buildings down all over the show, scaffoldings that was up against other buildings that collapsed. There was one spot where I could definitely smell gas and everything coming from buildings, so. One day, the city centre's, thriving and flourishing and full of people, and then the next day it's dead empty, like got nobody in it at all, and no one's not even allowed in it. The cordons were all being protected by military and the army, New Zealand Army, and so it was pretty full on and really dramatic change from one day to the next. Being a graffiti artist and doing what I do, I just felt like we needed to go out there and paint walls. I think after the earthquakes, and once we got out there and started painting all these walls, people started recognising the beauty in it. Definitely changed people's perspective of the art form, I think. People started to appreciate it more and started to really just love what we were doing. We were painting within the city centre and painting big murals to help bring people back into the city centre, just to bring an attraction into it and just help revitalise the place.
Cultural recovery for me is the essence. What the piece I'm talking about is the human essence, which aspires to create, to respond to hope, life. And in the middle of a crisis, that's the piece that certainly here in Christchurch that people craved.
We did a big massive Pinocchio mural, and we painted it right opposite the Bridge of Remembrance. And I remember painting that with my mate and just having a good laugh with each other, like thinking, imagine this, before the earthquake. There's no way we'd be able to paint such an amazing artwork in the city centre like that. We would have been frowned upon. I actually remember I was painting that Pinocchio production when I first met George. We were in town painting that, and he came along and introduced himself to us and said how he was planning on doing things here in the graffiti art form. He said how he owns the 23 original Banksy pieces, and he wanted to try and have a whole exhibition here.
As soon as we came down here, we realised it's where we wanted to be. We knew there was an opportunity for us to put this unique collection we got into a place that really needed all the help we could get. I think what makes Christchurch unique is the backdrop of the city. Christchurch isn't wall-to-wall buildings. It's a city where there are huge buildings, but then huge spaces, and it's got a post-apocalyptical feel, which also makes it really interesting for artists to work within. ROSE was about bringing a major street art event to Christchurch. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to give the people of Christchurch an opportunity to get a broad understanding of what street art is about, right from the graffiti end to the more sort of street urban art end of the genre, and everything in between. And we did that by having 3 major exhibition spaces within the museum.
I remember thinking, that's crazy, that's never going to happen. Canterbury Museum's not going to have a graffiti art exhibition.
We had just shy of 250,000 people visit the exhibition, and heaps of people touring around the city looking at the great images like the one we're standing in front of.
There's a lot of creativity out there. Very good to see. To make the best out of a bad situation. Things having fallen down, and all these exposed facades, and let's just use them and do something fun.
Street art is something very much of the Y generation. It's something very much of the now. You're creating a megaphone to talk to the rest of the world. And we've obviously seen that already with people, coming from overseas to Christchurch simply to see the street art that's gone up around the city.
Being a graffiti artist and doing what I do, and coming from a little place like Christchurch, and having such amazing people like Roa and Soffles and Tilt and all these other really amazing artists come to our city and paint murals here, it definitely put us on the map of the eyes of the whole world in a graffiti scene.
Every last person who came to Christchurch that we brought in for ROSE was blown away. They loved it. They loved the way that they were received by the people of the city. We're getting people contacting us almost every other day, artists from around the world who want to come and be a part of the future of putting great street art in Christchurch.
ROSE was amazing. It just really set standards and broke boundaries, but following it up with Spectrum again, that was amazing. Another whole level on its own.
Spectrum is about the whole street art, graffiti art genre, right from one end of the scale to the other. Everything from tags through to the latest videography and everything in between.
The image of the two hands here is rising up, which is a very important element to Christchurch at the moment. Everything's being uplifted, reborn, basically.
I think Christchurch is at a really interesting point now in terms of the art scene here for sure. Constantly changing landscape here. Even from what we saw only a year ago, so much has changed since then.
So it's a really interesting time to be here when the public is more open to what we're doing, and also that what we're doing can be that much more of a contribution to the city. We have this triumphant ice cream guy who has defeated the many-headed beast of the earthquake, and he's flying this new New Zealand flag here.
Christchurch's scene has changed in the last 2 years. I think it's good. Because I got to watch it move from the train lines to the street. It's an interesting place to paint.
This is the second Spectrum we've done. It's the third show that we've produced here in Christchurch, and the seventh one in total now, which is pretty cool. With this Spectrum, we've been able to get in there and do what we've always wanted to do, which is build immersive, interactive experiences for people. The room artists this year, Soffles, DTR Crew, Parentteeth, we got Flocks, Selena Miles, and then the Shady Collective, and then the 8 headline artists this year, 4 internationals, 4 Kiwis. We had Elliot Francis Stewart and Burst, Icarus from Christchurch, and Dio from Invercargill. And the international artists are Jorge Rodriguez Guerrero, who's Barcelona-based, Cuban-American, Seth from France, Telma Emile from Holland, Baxter, who's a female Australian artist who's based in New York now. We're painting 9 new walls in the central city. Between the 3 shows now, I think we've produced between 30 and 40 murals. I can't think of anywhere else in the Southern Hemisphere that has more large murals in its central city than Christchurch does. And it's become an amazing tourist attraction here. You know, Christchurch now is a street art city. It's become a part of what the city, or the new emerging city, is all about. If you put great street art around a city, what you do is you create an instant tourist attraction. You create a magnet for people to come to the city.
Already, because of what the transitional movement's doing here, it is driving the tourism industry at the moment. And I think it's the rawness and the edginess that actually is what is drawing people here.
It's, you know, been voted one of the top places to visit in the world by the New York Times, and for good reason. There's amazing stuff to see and do in Christchurch.
It's a good place to be, I think, Christchurch at the moment. There's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of love for the art form, there's a lot of people just appreciating it and wanting more of it.
From an artist's point of view, it's a really interesting place to work because it's got a unique feel. And I think from a visitor's point of view, it gives those amazing views of massive pieces of artwork, some of which are 40 metres across and 20 metres high that we've had painted in the city.
Beforehand, there was all this new wall space because buildings had come down and opened up walls, but now buildings are being built and which are creating more walls as well. And so there's just, yeah, lots of opportunities here, I think.
We've already got an amazing international reputation already in Christchurch as a city where you can come and see great street art and one of the best street art exhibitions, annual exhibitions anywhere in the world. But we're also, we want to build on that and really make it a part of the backbone of the city and what Christchurch is all about moving forward.